Sometimes everything goes according to plan. Sometimes they go horribly. Join us while we tell tales of games gone wrong. This is Curmudgeons and Dragons RPG Horror Stories.
Hello, adventurers. Guys, it's another horror story episode. How cool is that? Woo. I know. Listen, there's only so many ways I can be in these. There's only so many ways I can have an excited sounding intro for these episodes.
Okay.
I am excited for them. I love doing these things, but I don't know. There's only 4 different ways to say it, and I already ran out. I got Jim Crocker today.
Hey, how we doing?
Greg Genovas is here.
Hello.
And Josie did not respond to the DMs, so I don't know. Maybe she's working or something. Who knows? Although I did try to wrangle you guys up an hour ago. So I'm oh shit, I don't have an episode for tomorrow. We should record one right now.
Yeah. That's okay. It's all right.
But this is cool. We got a table full of DMs, veteran DMs and baby DMs. This is a cool story for DMs. And I would love all your opinions on it.
Forever DMs is the phrase that some people use.
Forever.
I don't think I've played as a player in a non-one shot in about 6 years.
I was going to offer to do a one shot for you, but yeah, no.
I'm always down for a one shot. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, come over on a Sunday.
All right.
So this story was just posted yesterday at the time of this recording by user Just and Name. Not just a name, just and name.
Just and name.
Or just a N name. I don't know.
Oh.
Maybe their name's Nancy or something.
Like Nathan or something like that.
Yeah. So the story is it's titled, and it's supposed to be Am I the Asshole, but it's AMTIA. So the top comment on this is Am me the in asshole.
That sounds right.
So the title is Am me the in asshole for asking a player to read her features. Not really a horror story, just wanting to know if I did the right thing in this situation. I'm in my second 5e campaign with a player who I was originally having fun with, but not so much the more I see. In the first campaign, she played a Hexblade Warlock. I tied the blade to the story pretty heavily, and its owner ended up being the big bad. But she never used it as a weapon and only ever cast Eldritch Blast and once cast Thaumaturgy in the entire 4-month campaign.
Okay.
I didn't bring it up then because we weren't doing combat often, and I thought she had just realized how optimal Eldritch Blast was and didn't look at her spell list because of it. Now she's playing a Phantom Rogue. And side note, before we started recording this, Greg and I were looking over the Phantom Rogue features. They're nuts.
Yeah, they are.
I kind of want to play one now.
What's it from? Is that one of the Splat book?
Tasha's.
It is Tasha's.
Tasha's. There we go. Okay, all right. Yes,
yep.
Yeah. Sorry. 5.25. Okay, continue.
Sure. There's a couple very important Phantom Rogue features in here that we did look up. So let's get through the story, and I'll fill in the gaps when we need to. So now she's playing a Phantom Rogue, and some of you were able to guess, she didn't know how sneak attack worked and guessed that it was based on sneaking. The first time it came up in combat, she had advantage on a prone enemy, and when the damage was low, I asked, "Did you add sneak attack?" She asked why she would, and I explained this was several sessions in, and she hadn't used a single rogue feature outside of proficiencies. I tried to casually say, yeah, it's really worth reading your features, especially as a Phantom Rogue, because they get some really cool stuff. She got really defensive about it being her first time playing a rogue, which, side note, is not true, because it's the same character from a game that I played in that ended abruptly. So she played this character before. I dropped it because I didn't want to exasperate anyone, and I figured she'd read the features after that. Fast forward to 3 sessions later, and she still hadn't used any features. This is a part of an organization of roguelike people that she had recently openly betrayed, so I figured it made sense to send some assassins. I sent 4 of them that had access to limited sneak attack and smite. Side note, she was resistant to radiant damage and as an Azamar, so it was balanced around that. They had limited sneak attack and smite with only 23 HP against her and the bard, both at 6th level. The encounter should not have been even close in the slightest. Phantoms have a feature where when they sneak attack, they have some charges of doing extra damage to other targets. This would have made the fight easy. Instead, she got dropped to 2 failed death saves, and they only won because I changed their equipment to chainmail so the bard could cast heat metal. I gave the enemy steady aim as a bonus action so I could show how useful the feature was to her, saying they're going to use bonus action steady aim every time I did. Every one of her turns, she would just roll an attack. I reminded her the first few turns that she could steady aim, which she always said, "Oh yeah, can I do it now?" I allowed it, and yeah, sneak attack deals damage, surprisingly. I DM'd her asking how she wants to incorporate Whispers of the Dead and Wails from the Grave, which...
Wait, like whales? Like
Yeah, whales.
like
What else
like-
could this possibly mean, Jim?
Like big old orcas.
yeah. All right, sorry. Once they swallow you could probably just get out between their ribs, right? That's okay. Sorry. Continue, please.
Either that or like that country that's part of England, which I can't do that accent, so I'm not going to.
Welsh zombies. Yes.
Yeah, Welsh.
Ach.
Welsh from the
Ach, zombies. Yeah.
completely unpronounceable. They just make up their spelling. I was going to ask her how to incorporate Whispers of the Dead and Wails from the Grave, and said how cool some flavor could be with how she's written the character. She liked 2 of the ideas and said she wanted to flavor it like them. Fast forward to the next session. I do some horde enemies where Wail of the Dead would have been useful. No use of it. Didn't even use steady aim without a reminder. I gave them a goal where a proficiency none of them had would have been useful the next day, and she didn't swap her Whispers proficiency. I get not wanting to tell someone how to play their character, but she isn't playing it. If you chose mechanics for a character and I create events around that character, I've done my part. But there's an expectation for players too, and I don't think she met it. It's not fun for me and the other players. I told her she has to learn her features or leave the game, and I want to know if that's fair. She hasn't responded as of writing this. A quick edit, the intention is not to kick her, is to force her to read the features. I prefer to have her as a player, but as one who reads her features.
No, I feel like he's done his due diligence in like reminding, because there's a lot of fucking words and rules in D&D. But like, hey, how many times do you have to remind someone before it's like, okay, I'm going to stop reminding you?
Yeah.
You have to remind them as many times as you talked about in session 0, your expectations for everybody knowing their character and how much they should know their character. So one of the things where I'm having a disconnect here is he says, if you chose a character for the mechanics, and I suspect if we asked her, she would say, I chose this character because the way that the powers work sounded cool. Like it was a whole, like it's a rogue tied into the undead and stuff like this. And I want to do some of that. And probably could care less about what the mechanics actually do.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And so like this sounds to me just like a big disconnect between like what the DM thinks like playing her character the right way is and what she thinks playing her character the right way is.
I don't think this is a right way, wrong way thing. I think this is an effort way and a non-effort way.
Yeah, because it sounds like this has happened before with the rogue, and like, I don't know if she's not understanding when things can trigger, or if she's just not reading the base mechanics of like the things her character can do.
So there's there is something that's real clear here, which is that his approach is not working.
Yeah.
Like the thing he's trying to do to get her to do it is not working. And if I were him, there's 2 things that I would do that he didn't talk about doing. And the first is to like just take a page straight out of 4th edition and just put those things that he wants to make sure she remembers like on a little separate card or a sheet or post it or something.
Yeah, that's one of the common fixes in the
write down like in front of her character, put it there. He seems so annoyed that like she's not using these particular features, that if he can kind of emphasize those and, you know, and put those up front, because like if you are not doing homework on your character, I mean, and this is one of those other questions and we can go off on a homework tangent on what counts as homework and, you know, what your expectation should be for players to know, like learn stuff between sessions.
We'll do a homework episode.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think we got
lots to talk about homework.
Yeah.
So make a note of that homework episode.
Yeah, but the other thing is I don't hear anything about trying to enlist the other players or doing any kind of positive reinforcement, so that like, you know, when she does do it, like get the other players in to go, oh, that's awesome. That was sweet. That was super cool. You should do that more, so that it's getting it. It's kind of reframing it as this is a cool thing you should do, and everyone thinks it's cool. And the more you do it, the cooler we'll think you are, as opposed to Jesus Christ, can't you fucking learn this? What is wrong with you? Which is like the vibe, very much the vibe I'm getting off of this, and that can be I understand the frustration, but like you got to be careful about how frustrated you get, how like you look like you are, because that can get that, that spiral of like a parent trying to get, their kid to like do their chores or something like that.
I think the reward that is being presented is the ability to play the game, making encounters around these features. Because so the two features that he mentioned are Whispers of the Dead and Wail from the Grave.
And from the sound of it, it's like she's not even using sneak attack or like steady aim. Like she's not using any features. It's not like these specific cool ones.
Sure. But like I said, like that's the players playing the game for different reasons thing. And if he doesn't want people in the game that are not using every feature and stuff like that, we go back to that should be a session 0 thing where you talk about, hey, I expect everybody to know their characters and to use your class features and all that kind of stuff and everything. Go through that. I mean, I suspect that like she just wants to sit down and role play. That's my guess. And that like, there are plenty of friends I have who like will play D&D if that's what we're playing, but don't particularly give a shit at all about, this thing gives you an extra D6 or whatever. They, and maybe the deal you work out is that you just handhold that player more than you do the other players. I mean, that's you can decide not to, you can decide that's not but I mean, I come from a background where, gosh, like 80% of the DMing I've done in the last 20 years was through my store and teaching people to play the game. And especially teaching kids to play the game. And some of those kids are on the spectrum and all that kind of stuff and everything. And so like, if I was going to get pissed that 6 weeks in, this like 12-year-old with Asperger's, I was still having to remind them, or just say, hey, add an extra die in there because you've got sneak attack. And then they go, oh, that's right. Cool. But they're super enthusiastically playing along and engaging with the NPCs and stuff like that. That's I mean, like, what I would like to do is kind of disentangle like value judgment of her being a bad player or something like that from this. It's just a mismatch of, I think, what he wants people to be doing in his game and what she wants to be putting into it. It's kind of how it feels to me.
So I'm going through the comments here and a couple of important things that I'm finding. Someone asked, is this a home game with friends or an online game with people you only vaguely know? And he says it's the latter. It's not a paid game. That's worth mentioning, but they've been playing with the group for 6 to 7 months. 6 to 7 months is a long time for no effort.
Yeah.
That's a long time to carry someone.
I hate framing this as no effort. Like, because we don't know anything else about what she does, how she engages with the rest of the game. She may be like the most enthusiastic role player that engages the most with the NPCs that, is putting ideas out there into the world, but just doesn't give a shit about the mechanics.
Sure. I got to go.
We don't know that.
I got to go with what I know.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, just being reminded of something for 6 to 7 months, just regardless of what the context of that thing I'm being reminded of is, comes to me is just, it screams no effort.
I mean, if that annoys you, then yeah, you shouldn't have that person in your game.
It's not so much that it annoys me that she's not using them, is that it's a refusal to acknowledge that this is part of it. Like that's
I mean, clearly the first thing that dude needs to do is to stop designing adventures around those mechanics. Like, I'm sorry, like you know what? I was going to say, I can't imagine anyone designing adventures around mechanics, but I guess I can see how you do that. Like particular encounters that are like, like he said, you can do this grave thing. And so we put some undead in there or whatever. Like, I guess I absolutely see that. But if she's not engaging with it in that way, if all she wants is to just,
so the two features
basic attacks and stuff like that, then that's
the two features in question here. Whispers of the Dead is you can choose a skill or tool proficiency at the end of a long rest that you don't already have. So for that one, he had a skill check coming up the next day that was super telegraphed, that was not already part of the party.
Yeah.
Just kind of baiting for Whispers to be super useful. And then Wails from the Grave, Greg and I were reading this before, and it just seems like an awesome feature.
Oh, it's buck wild.
When you sneak attack, you then get to do half your sneak attack. You roll half your sneak attack dice and then hit something else up to 30 feet away with that damage. There's just free damage on a second creature within 30
secondary
feet.
Attack roll.
So sending multiple assassins after her was the opportunity to be like, here's.
I mean, man, I'm
putting them in a rogue organization to even show it. I mean, this is like video game tutorial levels of
I'm just so used to like running the game in order to teach people that it just doesn't feel to me like a sacrifice, like a huge big deal to take an extra 10 seconds to go throw your grave whale damage.
But
just say who you're targeting with grave whale.
Mm-hmm.
Just ask it as a question. And if you keep asking it as a question, then, maybe that's, or maybe not. I don't know.
I don't know. Just with
for 7 months though.
Yeah. Especially with the history of the steady aim, where it's just like, hey, these rogue enemies are doing steady aim. You can do it too.
Right.
And it sounds like he did that for a while.
And by reminding her every single time, at what point is this the DM just playing the character?
Yeah.
It's at no point is it the DM playing the character, because she decides who she's going to attack and where and what weapon she's going to use. Now she's going to swing. You're just, he's just reminding her that she has class features that can enhance the thing she was doing anyway. I don't know. I just like this stuff just doesn't upset me. I read these things and it's just a different, I think it's people getting upset about stuff that just doesn't bother me at all. Like if I had one player that I knew whose company I otherwise enjoyed, but I just knew that their thing was that they just never bothered to learn the mechanics of their characters, I would just know that, and I would play along, and I would, I'd remind them when I reminded them, but otherwise just assume that they're going to be awesome when it comes time to do the encounter that's the masquerade ball, but that all they're going to do is throw basic attacks in combat and compensate accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just a thing that that just doesn't bother me. So I may actually not be the right person to ask this question to. So.
No, and listen, there's a perfect person to ask the question because you have a different idea on it.
Yeah.
I'm reading some more comments here. It says, I DM for new players regularly, so I have a very high tolerance for coaching folks on their class features. Withdrawing that support or allowing myself to get frustrated with the slow learners is more detrimental than just casually mentioning overlooking actions on round 2. A quick don't forget X, Y, or Z followed by a smidgen of positive reinforcement is infinitely more effective than telling someone they need to learn their class. Are DMs who aren't willing to do the same for 6+ months assholes? No. The burden of responsibility lies with the player, but there are ways to facilitate that journey towards self-education that are more effective. And I think this is the
that's where I was going with that. Just said more succinctly. Yeah.
Yeah. I think this is the centrist way of looking at it, where like, and I've been talking about my Sunday games for a while now, just because I've been running them every Sunday and I'm super excited about them. This is my baby DMing, and I've been getting a lot of baby players in, and I've converted so many people that I work with, and this is all we talk about now. But they're all brand new players, and I've been a guitar instructor for 20 years now. Really, 19 years I've been teaching guitar. I was 18, I'm 30, 18, 19 years I've been teaching guitar. And my best students were always in like that kind of 12 to 14 range. So like younger. So being able to like have infinite patience and handhold and stuff like that. But when I had my student who I taught this kid for 5 years and he still didn't understand basic rhythmic notation, like the difference between a quarter note and an eighth note. And I'm trying to tell the parents that like he's not doing his homework. And they kept paying me to come by, so then I needed it. Was it ethical for me to keep taking that paycheck? Probably not, but I was 19 and I was broke. So, but like, there is a point where it's just like, hey, listen, I've given you the tools over and over again. Have held your hand for a very long time. You're going to learn it or you're not. And at a certain point, like, is this the right game for you? There's other, like, role playing is like, being in it for the role play is great. And there's other RPG systems that are way less feature heavy and way more role play heavy.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And maybe that's a better game. if that's the case.
Yeah.
Going entirely from what I have in the story, I don't know. But
yeah, she'd be a lot happier with Dungeon World, I think.
Sure.
Where you have like 3 moves and then it's all about how you flavor them, which is where the fun in the game comes in. So yeah.
One of the most common things I'm seeing in the comments, and I can't even attribute it to one particular Reddit user because it's popped up a few times. And even Jim, you just said it before, cheat sheet. A 1-pager of not even all the features, just the important ones.
Mm-hmm. Just the ones that it pisses him off she's not using.
Sure.
I mean, those are the ones that, yeah.
Let's take my Sunday games again.
She doesn't need the grapple rules, printed out for her. That's just, yeah.
Unless those are a thing that she's trying to exploit. I had a character that was specifically designed to exploit grappling.
Well, yes.
Same here.
But that's not what's annoying her DM.
No. So again, with my Sunday games, so because these are new players, we're not doing character creation. We're using the pre-made characters that are made by Wizards of the Coast.
Oh, sure.
And they're already on 1-pager sheets. These do not look like regular character sheets. Most of my players have not seen a real character sheet yet. And it lists all the things they need to know. I wish it had a little bit more information. I wish it had a full skill check list and not just the ones they have proficiency on, because then I have to figure out, is this wisdom? Is this intelligence? Because then they just take the roll, whatever. So that's my gripe about that. But it does list all their features for that class and subclass. We usually play level 5, just enough to get the marshals their second attack and make them feel like they're marshals.
And a 3rd level spell for the spellcaster.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like 5 is a great, just like, dropping right in the middle, good meat, potato stuff. Nothing crazy, but it's not boring either. Level 1, I wouldn't do that to them. 3 and 5, I think is a great one shot for new players. Anyway, I will go through the 1-pager with them, and I will with a literal actual highlighter, highlight the things that I think they need to know, especially because I know the campaign they're about to play. It's like, listen, this will probably come up a lot. This will probably come up a lot. And you, Ranger, you probably want this with this terrain. Right? Yeah. And you want this as your favorite enemy. Trust me, you want to go up against beasts. And I think the 1-pager with the features and go through it with them. Even though I'm only running 1-shots, I still have a session 0 that just lasts like 45 minutes where we go through your features of this character you didn't build and you didn't make any of those decisions.
A 0 hour.
Yeah, sure. I think that might be the fix here. And if she's not receptive to it, then you get to decide who plays in your game, and is this the kind of player you want in your game, and is this the kind of game that she wants to play? You both get to make that decision.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, for sure.
Anything else on this?
No, this was a good topic.
I think we nailed it.
This is a good one.
Yeah,
it's really interesting. Yeah.
All right. So the link to the story will be in the description. Go check that out and go read up on the comments. The comments are all over the place, and this is actually like really good discourse. A lot of people most people are siding with the DM, but there's a lot of that are saying like, no, you're not the asshole, but here's how to go about this.
Some of them are me. So yeah.
Were you on this one, Jim?
I read it. I didn't weigh in.
Okay.
But it was the kind of thing that like, this is the kind of question that I find interesting because this is really a your mileage may vary one.
And it's the kind of story
legitimately like nobody's wrong. You just got to make sure you're communicating what your expectations are. Yeah.
No, people can be wrong for the game. Like I said, this just sounds like a mismatch more than anything else.
Yeah.
I hope she finds a game that she's more comfortable in, and I hope they all have a good time. Yeah. But it seems like there's no actual assholes here. Just it's a tough situation. It sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
But check that out. Check out the comments on it. Let us know what you think too. curmudgeondragons.com/contact. You can send us an email or a DM through there. I'm trying to find more stories like this. I think this was perfect for what our Fridays should be. So that's all I got today.
Tune in for a few weeks on our episode on homework that we're going to do.
Yes.
I'm excited.
Love homework. Love assigning homework to my players.
D&D homework is the best kind of homework.
I say that as if the DM is not doing the most homework out of anybody. So,
yes, exactly. Yeah.
DM's the fucking grad student out of all the. Guys, thanks so much for listening. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
See you later.
Thank you for listening to Curmudgeons and Dragons. Please share this with your favorite adventurers and leave a review. If you have a tale we should tell, please send it to us at curmudgeonsanddragons.com/contact for consideration. You are now out of initiative.
This has been a JTP Audio podcast. Thanks for listening.